Hi, my name is Kelvin Mercer, and today I'm going to be talking to you guys about Manifest Destiny and kind of what that looked like for our country, where it led us to, and if I'm honest, a little pretense, it kind of led us to a lot of greed, um, where our country kind of just wanted more, 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 when really we should have been um, just happy with what we had because we already had a lot of land, but someone came along and skewed our vision of ourselves. And so the term was actually used in 1845 for the very first time. And it's basically the idea that the United States was destined by God to expand its dominion and spread capitalism and democracy all over the North American continent. So basically, someone came and said, you know, this is what God wants for us. This is where we should be going. And so it took off from there where people were just like, okay, I really believe that. And that's where we should be going. And so it kind of just led to this expansion, and people really took a hold of it and just drove and went with it. And so it honestly drove the 19th century U.S. territorial expansion, where we took this idea and we just expanded all across the Northwest territory mostly, and like Oregon, Texas, places like that. And so the first time it was ever used was actually in a newspaper in 1845 in a newspaper called the Democratic Review, where they basically just said they urged national unity, and during this time they really needed national unity, and so they basically said the fulfillment of our manifest destiny to overspread the continent allotted by Providence for the free development of our yearly multiplying millions. And so again, it goes back to greed, where they just wanted to multiply. And so you also see it appear again in a newspaper called Morning News in July of 1845 in New York. And they basically said they pretty much use the exact same statement as the Democratic Review. And so basically all these newspapers were catching on, and it's pretty much like today where our newspapers were skew our views, and we don't really know what to go and or believe. It was really like that, where it just spread all over the U.S. And so um, eventually it led to like this dispute with Oregon. We were trying to take them over. We didn't. We It just led to this dispute, and we took Oregon over. But then after that, we entered right after that we entered into a war with Mexico, and so this honestly took a while and had to be settled by uh, a treaty. And so we were in a war with Mexico, and then it got settled by the treaty. But that still wasn't the end of Manifest Destiny. The rapid expansion over the U.S. led not only to a war with Mexico, but also displacement and brutal treatment of Native Americans, Europeans, pretty much any non colonists or anything like that. And so it just led to a lot of America treating people badly. And so therefore we just didn't really know where to. We were so greedy. We didn't we didn't want to take people over, but that's what we had to do because of the greed. And so that's why I keep on saying the greed drove a lot of this. And so um, all of these events, plus the debate over whether the amendments of states to the Union would be a slave or free state, eventually, in the end, led to a civil war. And so if you think about it, Manifest Destiny started off as this great idea to expand our country, and then you see these events play out where it's just one thing after another after another after another that leads to um, just greediness, and our greediness eventually led us to this big blow up. And so yeah, so that's pretty much Manifest Destiny. It was basically where we thought that we were supposed to rule from all the way to the Pacific Ocean, Northwest Territory, all the way to the Pacific Ocean, and so we thought that God told us to do that. So we took people over casually, one by one, until we got everything we wanted. But in the end, it led to this civil war, and I'm sure somebody else in another video was talking about what that civil war will look like, but so I hope you guys learned something. I hope I taught you something that you guys didn't already know. And I hope you have a great evening.